The Star Wars franchise seems to be very expansive past Episode 9 and the 2 live-action TV series. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are really looking forward to seeing after Episode 9 by Disney and Lucasfilm is, of course, the new Star Wars trilogy, also known as the fourth trilogy by the creators of Game of Thrones, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about these series of films when it comes to all of what's going on after Episode 9 and what Disney has in store for the fans when it comes to not just the two new Star Wars trilogies, but also the two live-action TV series and the Clone Wars Season 7. Now, what's really interesting about the fourth Star Wars trilogy is that they're actually going to be focusing on both Jedi and Sith. That is what Disney is going for when it comes to this fourth Star Wars trilogy, and it's really a big hint, in my opinion, that we are actually going back to the Old Republic era, which as of right now, by the way, is all Legends material. Now, if they are indeed focusing on Jedi and Sith, because that's what Disney and Lucasfilm are actually trying to do right now, and they're also trying to get the format of it being the Roman numeral system of episodes 10, 11, and 12, starting off with Star Wars Episode X, which honestly I think is excellent branding. The only problem that they could run into is if this is indeed the Old Republic that we all know and love in Legends material, is that would actually place it before the events of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So, the fact that they are trying to make these series of Star Wars films within the fourth trilogy to be centered on both the Jedi and Sith, I think is a major hint and or indicator that we are indeed heading to the Old Republic era, or maybe even a different era that Disney and Lucasfilm will actually create themselves that is similar to that of the Old Republic. Now, how would you guys feel, and this is a huge and important question, how would you guys feel if Disney and Lucasfilm created their own version of the Old Republic where it's not necessarily called the Old Republic? Now, I think that's where fans may have a big problem, because we do know that these set of Star Wars movies in the form of a trilogy is going to be like Star Wars on acid, as Emilia Clarke, who has said this before in the past, I believe it was almost a year ago at this point, she said these movies are going to be like Star Wars on acid, indicating that it is indeed going to be centered on a lot of what we expect to see. Now, we do know that it's going to be more for the hardcore fans, and it's actually going to be centered within the Star Wars mythology, as Bob Iger has said before in the past. Now, we do know that Bob Iger has said that it will be based within the Star Wars mythology format, which honestly I think is a great thing and something that a lot of fans need to see. You know, after all, if we look at what they have been doing with the Star Wars films, a lot of the spin-offs had nothing to do with Jedi, Sith, or Force-related stuff. It was all based on either war-centric content, or smuggling and or black market, or pretty much the underworld stuff in Solo: A Star Wars Story. We've seen that side of the Star Wars universe. So now with these set of Star Wars films, what they want to do, since they do know that the main movies, a lot of people go in to actually experience, you know, new characters that are associated with the Jedi, Sith, or light side or dark side users, right? It would be crazy to abandon that idea after Episode 9, and so I think it's a great call and it's a great move that Disney and Lucasfilm are essentially advising David Benioff and D.B. Weiss that their script is centered on Jedi and Sith related content. Now, like I said, this is a major hint that this is going to be the Old Republic. If you guys actually read The Last Jedi Visual Dictionary, you'll see a lot of hints and clues in there that it is indeed going to be the Old Republic. There's a lot of little clues, with Luke Skywalker's red kyber crystal necklace being tied to the Jedi Crusaders, and the Jedi Crusaders in Legends, Darth Revan was a part of, and Revan was actually based in the Old Republic era. So you can see all these little breadcrumbs, these little hints, right, within actual canon pieces under Disney, that the Old Republic is actually happening and it will come eventually. Now, if we look at the other Star Wars trilogy by director Rian Johnson, that's a big mystery right now. We have no clue what's happening with that. We don't know if it's even going to happen, or if it was canceled, or put on the back burner. We're not quite sure what's happening with Rian right now. I got a gut feeling that they may abandon that trilogy and stick with one new Star Wars trilogy and see how it goes, and if that one does good, then maybe, and only maybe, they'll go over to Rian Johnson and say, hey, you know what? give us a good ride with the 5th Star Wars trilogy and see what you can do. I could see them doing something around those lines. But anyways, guys, I am really excited to see what they have in store after Episode 9. There's a lot of talk right now, by the way, that they're going to have a 1-year hiatus of Star Wars movies. So that means no Star Wars movie next year, and I mean 2020. No Star Wars movie in May of 2020 or December of 2020. Anyways, we'll find out everything at Star Wars Celebration of this year on April 11th, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.